with another one. Amy Barajas back in the studio with her big brother.
Yep.
Me. All right, everybody. So we got all the technology to work. Let's all say our prayers that it keeps going. All right, Amy.
Yeah.
Welcome back.
Hello. Welcome.
Talking about punishment today.
Yep.
Some people say that being a mother can be punishing.
True.
So they say that there are peaks and valleys, mountaintops and valley lows to everything. And where would you say you are right now in the journey of motherhood? Is it a mountaintop? Is it a valley low? Is it somewhere in the middle on the mountain?
Honestly, I think I'm doing pretty good right now. Happy. More comfortable with Kalal being by himself. I'm like, he's stretching out. I feel like he's hitting his milestones. He's doing everything right. He has little tiny teeth. Let's see. He's crying a lot.
Yeah.
Like he wants to be held all the time. So I guess the smarter he gets, the more I can't just distract him with things. So maybe not. Nah, I think I'm up there, on the way up right now.
And is he eating solid food yet?
Yeah, I think that's been a major problem because like he's only breastfed and I mentioned it last time, I don't weigh that much. So I've been trying to eat a lot. So I've ate like just 3 times this morning, but I'm trying to eat a bunch so that I can make enough milk for him because if I don't eat, then he's like acts like he's starving all the time. So then he's upset. So then I've been trying to like give him food, but I get scared that he's going to choke. So then I'm like super worried, but actually he's doing really good now. He's not as like, So he's doing okay. But I don't know. I'm like, should I just eat more? I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
Jeremy's on. You need to eat all day. You're going to disappear. I'm like, I'm
So then
chilling.
does the amount that you eat impact the amount that he receives? Is there a connection there?
Yeah. I can tell a difference because I was sick a couple weeks ago and I didn't eat like all day and I barely produced any milk. And because I couldn't keep anything down, not even water. So like I was drinking water and it was coming back. So then it was like everything, like I wasn't able to produce as much milk. So I think that's been a challenge. So I really need to start figuring out how to get him to eat food, because I haven't really been doing too many purees. I've been doing a lot of like baby-led weaning.
Mm-hmm.
You know what that is?
No.
It's just where you like whatever you eat, you give your child like softer, smaller portions. So it's like if I'm going to eat a banana, then I give him smaller chunks of the banana,
Yeah.
So it's like it makes me nervous because then it's like he's eating chunks of food. But I guess that's also why he's been doing a lot better on like actually being able to consume food.
Yeah.
But yeah. So the last 2 days he's been getting really good about like swallowing his food the right way, which crazy to even think about that. That's like so scary, just watching your child eat food.
Yeah.
But
are you CPR ready?
yes. I don't have my certification anymore, but I've been certified at least 3 times.
Nice.
3 or 4.
All with our sister, Diamond?
The very first time I was CPR certified, I think it was Diamond, and then I had to do it for school. Yeah.
Nice.
I think when we were going to do like volunteering at the hospital, like clinicals and stuff, we had to be CPR certified. And I was like, I'm already CPR certified. They were like, no, you have to get our CPR certification. I was like, okay, cool.
Yeah. Gotcha. Well, 3 times is significant for a 24-year-old.
Yeah.
Are you supposed to get it done?
Every
redone
2 years.
Every 2 years. Cool. So 18 to 20, 20, 22.
The first time I got it done, I think I was 16.
Oh, okay. Got
16,
it.
17, 18, 19, 20.
But you'd feel...
Yeah, this would be the 4th time that I need to get it done.
But you'd feel pretty confident in a situation.
Yeah.
So then...
Fine.
between you and Jeremy, you wouldn't be like, "Hey, Jeremy, do something." You'd be like, "No, I got it."
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Jeremy would probably try to do something too, but I'm not 100% sure. Honestly, we've never been in like a serious situation, but
Yeah.
anytime something does happen, I've been quick to jump at it. Or, when he was first starting to eat, he would be like, making the little choking face, and then Jerry would be like, "Get him." I'd be like, give him a second,
Yeah.
and then he would. So it was like, okay, he's okay.
Yeah.
All right, but yeah, I guess that's a low, right? I guess that would be like that's a worrisome kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You could add
so
some stress to it to your
Mhm.
life.
yeah, but now he's getting better. Like he's getting better at eating. He's able to like put things in his mouth really easy. So it's he's not as frustrated. I'm not as worried. I still watch him, but
Yeah.
it's also gonna take some weight off of my shoulders because I'm not gonna be worried about making sure that I'm his sole source of food.
Yeah.
I mean, he's 7 months right now, so it's like he needs to start eating some food.
Is there a normal timetable that is that the same is it in the same category? You said baby led weaning.
Baby led weaning's the same thing as like purees, like the little baby food in the cup.
Right, but is it the same idea that you allow the baby to decide when he's
Done eating.
done with breast milk and moving on?
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I think so.
And is there a time period that's normal?
I mean, it's just so like, especially with baby led weaning, you give them the food and you just let them eat until they're like done, and then you just take it away. You normally know when they're done when they're stop putting it in their mouth and stuff
Yeah.
like that. And the first several times I gave Kalel food, he didn't even eat it.
Yeah.
Like he just squished it, put it like smelled it, and like threw it in his hair sometimes. But So I heard that that's good for them too. Read that them like smelling the food, feeling it helps them get used to it, and then that helps encourage them to put it in their mouth later.
Does he have any favorites right now?
So like I love those vanilla breads, those vanilla muffins. I don't know if I've told you about them, but
You mentioned them I think last time. I don't know
Yeah.
if it was on.
the pod
the
or if we
pod,
were just
yeah,
by
yeah.
ourselves. So I love those vanilla muffins. So I bought like 20 bags of them.
20 bags.
I got a big box at Sam's.
Okay, yeah.
So I bought like the pack of like the 20 bags. So like I've been eating them, and I was like, oh, like I wonder if he would like them. So I gave him one, and he loves them. Like this morning, I gave him banana and one of those, and he was just like, this banana is not it, Mom. Like I gave him banana and a bread yesterday, and he ate it all. But I think it's because he mushed them together.
Yeah.
But today I gave him the banana separate and then the bread, and he was just like, never mind, I don't want to eat it all. So all that food in the trash. But it was only half a banana.
Yeah. I got you.
I ate the other half.
Well, good.
But yeah.
We're talking about capital punishment today.
Yeah.
We asked AI in a similar conversation, maybe a little bit separate as well. We asked ChatGPT if it can tell us some of the craziest punishments for crime around the world, and maybe we'll go through a variety of them, and then we'll come back.
Yeah.
So
capital punishment, just like that, capital punishment, what is that? What is the definition, let's say?
capital punishment?
Yeah.
Dying for a crime. Like commit a crime and you're killed as part of the punishments. You're put on like death row and you get the electric chair or the lethal injection or the shooters.
So that is a capital punishment.
Capital, yeah. Capital, I suppose, meaning the top or the worst case scenario.
Oh, okay. Okay. I didn't know that.
And
But does it vary depending on like what you do? Like the capital punishment for this or that? Or is just punishment in general as a whole capital punishment?
explain your question a little more
So,
so I
like,
understand it.
Let's say, you steal something. Is the capital punishment death?
Right. Well, one of the reasons...
Or like you kill someone, obviously capital punishment death. But like...
Right. No, capital punishment is kind of reserved for the worst. So one of the worst things I ever did in life, when I was getting ready to do some work volunteering in a prison, is I went because you could pull up Texas, and Texas is the death row in Texas, and all these people who are about to be killed, and you could read their specific crimes they committed, and they're convicted of, to even get on death row. It's like the worst exercise as far as for positivity in the world. Like you're just reading the worst of human nature, like gang rape and child molestation, and like, but it's not just one level. Like child molestation is like we think it's the horrific of the horrific, but that's not even capital punishment worthy. It's like capital punishment, then like torture, and then like death of several, or like if there's like again I mentioned a gang rape situation, horrific, and those are the situations where I think it was gang rape, and then it was like then double homicide, and it was 4-on-2, and it was like all these like layers of like horrific human behavior, like the worst of human behavior. So it's not even you killed somebody and like you getting killed is equal. Like
Yeah.
that's I think it's safe to say that's uncommon. Just you killed one person and then it's capital punishment. It's more of layers of awfulness before it's actually capital punishment.
Oh.
Which would be an interesting thing to. I don't know if it's worthy of digging into as far as how far crimes have to go before they get into capital punishment, but it's the extreme of the extreme.
Wow. It's crazy.
Let us pray. No.
That was it got dark there for a second. Tell me why you were telling that story, right? Like you're talking about it, and I was thinking about is it called the Central Park 5?
I think that's what it is called.
It's The Boys, right? Have you seen
I'm
the
unfamiliar. but I've heard the phrase enough to know that I think that's the phrase.
Have you heard that's like you haven't seen the movie, obviously, or I don't know if it's a movie or it's a documentary or something where it's like the 5 boys who get accused of like following a jogger into, I guess it's like Central Park, and like beating her and raping her, and all of them get convicted and they spend like years in jail, and they weren't even the ones who did it. And it was like, oh man, that sounded like it's crazy. Like when you watch the whole thing, like even like one of them wasn't even anywhere near like what was going on, but he went when they took his friend to like go question him. He was in the waiting room waiting for him. He was like, no, I can't let him go alone. His mom will kill me if I, like, the cops pulled up to them too and was like, we're taking him with us. And he's like, no, I gotta go. Like, I gotta go with him. He goes with them. He's sitting in the lobby, and they're like, we need one more person. Like, they're questioning like 4 of them, right? And they're trying to get them to blame each other. You know, they're doing all the, he already turned you in, you have to turn him in. So they start doing it back and forth, and then they're like, we need one more person to seal the story. So then they go and they get the friend that was just with him. And then that was how they did it. But I was just thinking about that, because that's, you know, even if, you know, anything else happened, you never really know.
But yeah, that's the worst part about capital punishment is if you capitally punish someone and then it's the wrong one, then do you get capitally punished back for being a part of that? I know you don't, but fair is fair.
Yeah. That kind of stuff sucks. It's like, obviously somebody's wrong, you know?
Yeah. All right, so we did ask ChatGPT the 10 craziest punishments for crime around the world. So we didn't just want to talk about capital punishment, but that as well, but also for different punishments for different crimes around the world. And maybe we'll start with Singapore. Do you want to read number 1, Singapore's situation?
Caning in Singapore. Singapore practices judicial caning for crimes such as vandalism, drug trafficking, and certain immigration offenses. Offenders are struck with a cane on their bare buttocks, which can result in severe pain and scarring.
You read that, what do you think about?
Ooh, it would hurt to sit. Yeah, that's what I think about. Yeah, like, oh, if you're a woman, you can never wear a bikini again. Oh, I don't know. In Singapore, do they wear bikinis?
Good question. I think Singapore maybe I'm thinking about another different place. But there are certain places that the modesty is at another level. And there's this one place I'm spacing on it right now, but where our friends went to, and it's like frowned upon or illegal, even like to kiss in public. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Oh, I
yeah,
didn't
yeah.
know that.
And I think Angelita's modest side is like I was joking with her like, hey, that place is kind of made for you, you know, like her modest preferences, her modest leanings, but
Yeah.
it does make you think through. So Singapore. So one of the searches I also did connected with this, which is like, what are the safest places in the world? Interestingly enough, Singapore is at the top. So ChatGPT will list Singapore as the number one safest place in the world. Not saying it's the number one, but saying it for whatever reason, ChatGPT lists Singapore first, and it happens to be one of the safest places in the world. But the fact that they use physical violence in their punishment. So in America, outside of capital punishment, there's not physical violence built into the punishment.
Yeah.
So you're not getting beaten. You're not being struck. You're not being caned based on punishment. But the idea of you getting caught and you being physically beaten is something. So if you were in charge of the world, would you incorporate more of this physical violence for crimes?
If it ain't broke, don't fix it. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Well, where is it not broke? Is it not broke in Singapore or is it not broke here? According to what you're saying.
I'm going to just leave it at that. I don't want to get canceled. Nah, I'm just kidding. But honestly, I mean, I don't really know. Let's see.
Okay, let's make it personal. So
Ooh.
somebody...
Automatic beat them.
Somebody goes into your backyard and vandalizes and draws a picture of genitalia in the back of your house.
Yeah.
And then the judge comes to you and says, what do you think the crime should be?
Okay, like, really, really? It's not that serious. Okay, the trespassing, that's kind of scary. Like, weird. But the actual, like, the vandalism, I don't know. What do I think the punishment should be? Community service. Cleaning vandalism off of places.
Okay, how many hours?
All the hours.
Forever.
A year.
A year.
365 hours. An hour a day for a year.
An hour a day for a year.
Or, I mean, you know, you can split it up however you want.
You know, there's like unique punishments. I didn't know this till recently, but there are unique punishments that take place for people where they have to serve 1 day in prison a year for 10 years. Did you know this?
No?
Yes.
Wait, where? Wait.
This is here in San Antonio. I know a situation. I know somebody. It's 1 day a year for 10 years in a situation. Isn't that kind of crazy? 1 day, just 1 day.
So 10 days? So can he just do consecutive 10 days or he or she?
It has to be spread out across the 10 years.
Why? Well, I mean, okay.
That was just what was this what the judge decided. And
I mean, go their lawyer, you know? I mean, they must have had a good lawyer because whatever it was, they could have served all the 10 years in and 1 day out a year.
Yeah.
Wow.
It makes you think because you just I've never heard of such a thing where it's like so random like that. I was like, oh, I didn't know that's even possible. But
yeah, that's weird.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe not 365 hours. Maybe like enough hours, 60 hours, you know. Enough to get an associate's.
Such a random 60 hours. Okay. If it was me, somebody vandalized
your backyard. They not only violate your backyard, but now they vandalize. They entered into your backyard without permission. And then they vandalize your house.
I think I'd be okay with them getting caned. I think I'd be okay with that. Now, how many strikes? Okay, so what's excessive and what's appropriate for the number of strikes in the caning they receive?
Ooh.
I think for every inch of graffiti that they put on my house, it's another strike. So let's say they just did a little genitalia. Okay, that's like 12.
Wait. How hard are they doing it? Because, like, I mean, oh, like just thinking about like walking through the forest with the trees, right? And then
Yeah.
I'm walking behind, or let's say you're walking behind somebody, and they grab a little branch and they pull it, and you're behind them, and it whacks you. Does it cut you that first time? Probably. That sounds pretty painful. 12 times like that? Because this is intentional force onto the buttocks.
Now, so
12 for a square inch? To me, I would do like
Okay.
square foot.
okay, so here's the question.
For
Now-
square foot. For me.
per square foot?
Per square foot. So if it's small,
So-
1. If it's big, okay, 12.
I think to me, okay. Again, the judge comes to me and says, "All right, do you want to punish per inch, or now it's how graphic is the image?
Oh.
If the more graphic it is and embarrassing it is it below the fence line where neighbors can't see it, or it's above the fence line where neighbors could see it?" So all of that is
Plays
adding
a factor?
plays a factor to my embarrassment that my house got vandalized with genitalia.
Oh.
So, okay, now let me flip this or go inside of the hypothetical that we're talking about, and it's on you're the caner. Do you go max strength? Do you go half? Do you go 75%? What's your approach in the caning? And does the crime change how hard you go on the cane?
I'm the caner. I'm hitting it as hard as I can every time. I feel like that's
Batter up!
every single time. I mean, I don't know. I just think that's how it's. Yeah.
Or do
You're
you
supposed
build
to get it.
do you build a machine or a robot that inflicts the same amount of pain all the time with the predictable swing?
No. I mean, okay. Also, like, do you at home as a caner do workouts like this with a dumbbell? You know, and are you doing those workouts with the dumbbell? You know, whipping this dumbbell before you get the job as the caner.
Okay, now the judge offers you the opportunity to be the caner for the crime committed against you. Do you accept it or do you deny it? Now we're talking about, now let's stretch the crime. It's not just vandalism, it's something more
Yeah.
intense.
Let's say like somebody defecated on my car hood.
These
Or-
are the most immature crimes.
Or in a paper bag and set it on fire, and then I went outside and I stepped on
Okay,
it.
no, better. I got it.
Not immature.
So you're at a parade.
I'm at a parade.
You,
Oh.
you and Jeremy are at a parade, and a individual comes by with clippers and buzzes in the middle of Khalel's head and runs off, but they catch him.
Oh man, I'd never be allowed out of my house ever again. Jeremy does not. 1, he doesn't like crowds. 2, he doesn't like being out late. 3, he doesn't like to lull out. So we would be out, night, parade, you know, all these stackable things. And then that happens. Ooh, would I want to do it? No. If Jeremy wanted me to do it, I would do it. But let's say
Or what you could do is you could take the picture and then say, "All right, Khalil, I'll save this for you when you want to get out some stress one day." And they're like, "All right, call that guy in. Khalil's a grown up. He's ready."
Khalil's gonna wait for a day like I don't know.
A girl breaks up with him. All right, it's time to take out some stress. You get your caning now.
That'd be a good one. Ooh, yeah. Or they get caned over the course of an hour, but they don't know when it's coming. So I'm on this side of the wall, and I know when the cane's about to come.
And the walls like has their
Yeah,
waist, so
on the
they're
other
on the
side.
other side of the wall, so they just have to wait and just randomly.
You randomly get caned.
Are they reading a book? Are they watching TV?
No,
Are
I'm sitting in the room, and we're looking at each other, and I'm going like this.
Hmm?
We lost y'all there for a second.
Are we back in? Should we check on our phones?
I can check.
All right. Should I not check, or should I wait for you, or should I also check?
Okay, first one to do it. Rotten egg. Wait.
You just de-incentivize us.
Oh, I think it's doing something. It looks live. Is that us? I think it's working. Okay, first one to do it. Rotten egg. Wait.
Okay, yeah, we're live.
Okay.
And now we have 2 viewers, me and you.
Yay.
I wonder how that's going to look on the live. I guess we'll look at it later to see what happened in the interim.
Mm.
Sweet. All right, sorry. You were saying something you don't know and then something before we got that interruption. Any idea what you were doing?
Oh, so I don't know if like people when you feel wronged, depending on what it is, because you know, like you have those things where like obviously your child gets murdered or your child gets, you know, abused or raped or,
Yes.
you know, all these things. And you as a parent, and I don't know like specifically, but like, you know, you've seen those parents who will risk everything and will like shoot the killer, you know, or
Yes.
will beat the killer or will, you know, do all these things to the person. It's like, did they want to be the one specifically to have to do it? Or is it like they feel like they're not getting enough justice? You know, like, is it something you as a person feel like you have to do that? And maybe it's because I'm a woman. Like, I don't feel like I have to be the one to inflict that punishment. I feel like that's more like a male thing. Like, you want to be the one to enact or see through the punishment. Like yourself. Like, you want to get your rage out because you're mad about it. You want to be the one to do it because you're upset about that thing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that's a male thing or it's just, you know, normal, but
Yeah, there's a certain amount of desire, I think, at times to have justice in your own hands. Naturally, it's
Yeah.
not the Christian way, but it's the idea of making it even or making it right or balancing the scales. I've talked about in the past the different telenovelas that will take place, and it's like sometimes the antagonist, the evil person, is getting way too many victories. Where it's like no amount of good can even the scales, because she's killed off so many of the good people, and she's put the protagonist in prison for 20 years. So it's like, and you see there's only 5 episodes left, and it's like there's no amount of justice that can be done in these 5 episodes, you know?
Like, what telenovelas are you watching? Remind me not to watch that one.
The one I'm thinking about it's called La Patrona, and it's about poor woman falls in love with a rich woman's son. The rich woman does not want her rich son with the poor woman, so ultimately she arranges for the poor woman to be put into a psychiatric care for like 10. I mean, I might be hyping it, but it's years in this psychiatric ward. The place burns down and she escapes. And I'm certainly oversimplifying the whole plot, but she escapes and converts into a high-class woman, comes back and punishes all the people who were connected to her downfall. But in the process, the poor woman's dad was killed. The poor woman's only son, the evil woman raised as her own for like he was already an adult by the time she's out. Again, she missed all of his childhood. The evil woman also killed for some reason the poor woman's son's girlfriend in the middle of it. So like she's just killed so many people and then locked her away and made her miss her child's like
life,
10 to 20 or whatever. And it's like, again, 5 episodes left. You can't possibly punish her. You can't possibly get her comeuppance. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I could see the desire to want to take it into your own hands when you don't see it being done.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't think I have that desire. I mean, maybe things would, be different if I felt differently, but like if I'm also, like I've also said before, like I'm very passive. So like I don't want to have to be the one to do that.
Yeah.
But anyways, caning
in Singapore.
I mean, if it works I'm thinking like if it works in Singapore, it's obviously like Do I think, let's say, the people in Singapore got out of Singapore, would they commit more crimes? Probably, you know?
Mm.
So I don't know.
Or are they well trained and well molded
Yeah,
to
like
being a civilized
that's what I'm thinking also.
human?
And like, does it make them better? Because, you know, like they say stuff about like parents who hit their kids, like, oh, it just causes problems, whatever, whatever. And I mean, I could see that, you know?
What
But
are
it's
your
like,
what are your opinions about spanking?
I don't ever want to do it.
Ever?
Not really.
Mm.
I mean, you know, you never know. But yeah, personally, I
So
don't
can you
ever
can you
do that.
fathom any situation where you would think about it?
Um, yeah, let's say Kalal's like 8 or 9 years old, or maybe even 10, 8, 9, or 10 years old, and he is like hitting me. You know, I
Yeah,
wouldn't like that. Um,
yeah.
he'd have to be spanked.
It's an interesting age that you brought up,
Yeah,
because
I think at that point in time, he's old enough to know better, but young enough to also like think that it's funny. You know,
yeah,
it's like the age where you really need to like
yeah.
not let that
Right,
continue.
right, right. It seems clear that you probably don't want to. That people don't want to spank when it comes to something trivial,
Yeah, like
petty, but
crying because you don't want to eat your food or stuff like
yeah,
that. You don't spank for that.
or even like when you're emotional or having a bad day or something like that. However, the way that will one day resort to them having a punishment that's far more serious than the spanking I'm going to give them. Example, they're playing with the electrical outlet. I told you not to do that. And then you try to do it again. If I don't give you a pain for you to associate with putting something in that electrical outlet, you might do that and die. So I'm going to be okay with giving you a pain that you associate for you playing around with that plug so that you have that association because it's better than you dying. Or they mess around and try to run in the parking lot. Hey, I told you, we get to this parking lot, you hold your mom's hand, you hold my hand, and you don't let go. You don't go running because you'll get ran over. So the pain of the spanking, to me, is a better association than the pain of getting hit by a car,
Yeah.
being crippled for life, or dying.
Yeah.
So another example would be, even when you said, it's hitting your parents or hitting somebody
Yeah.
or inflicting physical violence. In real life, it's assault and you end up in prison.
Mm-hmm.
So do I want my kid to think that that's so funny? He hits, hold on. Like, you get put in prison for that kind of behavior.
Yeah.
So let me give you a punishment physically that will hopefully communicate how serious this is, that you do not want to do this and spend any time playing around with it. This is a very serious issue. That's
Mhm.
kind of my, maybe on the other side of that perspective.
Yeah.
Okay with it, with the big picture of I'm trying to build associations inside of your personal development that will save you from bigger punishments later on, which
Yeah.
is tied into what we're talking about here.
Limitations of But yeah, I know exactly what you mean. Yeah, that'd probably be the only things that I'd think about. So,
Number 2.
number 2.
I'll go ahead and get this one. Stoning in some Islamic countries. In certain Islamic countries, stoning is prescribed as a punishment for adultery and other offenses. The condemned individual is buried up to their waist if female, or chest if male, and then pelted with stones until they die. Thoughts?
I think the punishment fits the crime.
All right, so
You know,
go ahead.
especially here, like, I mean, where is this in? I bet you they don't be cheating over there. I bet you they're not cheating over there. I feel like it happens all the time. Maybe also, especially because I'm on Reddit, you know, like I'm obsessed with Reddits. So like I'm constantly reading them and I'm constantly like listening to them. And you constantly hear about people cheating, you know, whether it be men, women, all these different scenarios. And it's like, why does that happen all the time? You know, I'm 2 years into my marriage, but So maybe I'm like, I don't know or whatever. But you've been married for a while too, and it's just like, I don't know about that.
Yeah.
Just thinking about it.
Mm-hmm. So president comes to you and says, Amy, we want you to make an executive decision for our country. It's been communicated that in Islamic countries, they're more faithful in their marriages with this punishment. Do you want to install this same punishment here in America for adultery?
Maybe not stoned to death, but
You're like 5 stones.
no. Definitely like, oh, how big are the stones?
You're like, whatever they are, divided by 2. half the size of the stones. But just imagine though, so this says they're buried up to the, imagine being the woman and they're just, and you're there and you're just going to like 1 shovel.
Do you think they
2
tie their
shovels.
hands?
As opposed to being like this? So they could like cover? Okay, their hands are tied.
Their hands are tied to their, let's say, their legs, right? So
Yeah.
they tie their wrists. They tie the wrists to the thighs, and then they bury them. Then
You
they
imagine-
wiggle,
Can you imagine being there and then they,
start
and then-
throwing stones
and
at you?
each shovel of dirt being layered on you as you think about the sin that you've committed?
Does it happen in public? Who gets to throw the stones? The
Again,
adultered, the betrayed.
and again, another thing that the president is letting you make decisions on who also gets to throw the stones.
Okay, so personally, I think that we could do that, but the betrayed gets to throw the stones only, and they get to pick size and how many.
And how many? So they could do it till death.
Yeah, or if they don't want to, they can also pick somebody else to do it in size and how many. So you could say 5 bricks, brick-sized rocks.
Okay. But what about distance from them? Like how good of a thrower do they have to be?
Ooh, it has to hit them. So just 5, and you can throw as many times as you need to, and it has to hit them. So it doesn't matter the distance.
So you could be right on top of them, just dropping bricks on them.
Or you could, they could say pebbles, and you can be as close as you want. Just you could throw 1,000 of them, but also you could throw them and disfigure their face, break their stuff. Then they'll be ugly forever.
Unless they got plastic surgery. And then they got married and then had kids and then got sued. Wait, I guess they would be potentially good looking if they're original genes. So it doesn't really tie back to our situation that we talked about.
They say the person that cheats is usually the less attractive, anyways.
What? The cheater is less attractive?
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting.
So if you're thinking about cheating, you're probably ugly on your spouse.
How do you think, so they made the decision, at least from this ChatGPT response, that the women are buried up to their waist, men up to their chest.
Because they're too strong, or what? Like women can't wiggle out from their waist, but men could, but men cannot
Wiggle out of what? Of the hole that they're
Yeah.
in?
I mean, it's probably been tried and tested.
But so you think it's about the ability to wiggle out?
Yeah, because men are normally top heavy. Like it's easier for them to grow muscle up on the top, and then women are, since we're childbearing, it's more like in the hips and legs.
So it's not courtesy to the woman's chest or breast or anything like that. It's more of something else, you think?
Yeah.
Interesting. I suppose the other way would be to like ties them up.
Tie them up. But then they move around. They probably have a system in place too, like certain distance or.
Did you ever finish Braveheart?
Yeah.
You remember the end?
Yeah.
So he's tied up from his hands and from his feet, and they castrate him and then chop his head off, I think.
Yeah.
So they wouldn't be able to move around with that.
Yeah. But would it take longer to die? Like maybe they want to get it over with.
Longer to die by being buried? You think they die quicker if they're buried, half buried, or whatever, 80% buried for the
I
men?
think they die quicker because there's more likely chance you hit their head rather than like.
Well, back to the distance.
That's what I'm thinking too. Is it like, like Roman Colosseum style, where everybody's up and you just throw the rocks down? Or is it like,
Mm.
I don't know what else. Like,
I wonder if it's like a pit. Like, so they're inside of the pit, kind of what you just said. But then, like, you throwing the stones kind of buries them.
oh, that makes sense too. Yeah, maybe like a dip, kind of.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And then the rats go in.
I'm not gonna look it up, but
Stoning.
yeah, I'm not.
Yeah, I think I'm cool with that. With it. No.
Okay, but I would want worse punishments for like worse crimes. You know what I mean? Like, like crimes against children.
Yeah.
I definitely would want. I think what happened in Braveheart should happen to every person
Yes.
who does crimes against children.
100%. Castrating the men who commit, assault crimes against children, sexual crimes against children,
Even just
as opposed to killing them. So here's the thing: is have you ever killed a roach and then left the body there to scare the other roaches?
it's so funny that you say that. Last night, Jeremy went to the bedroom early, right? And I was just out there with Kalal watching Spider-Man, and I see a roach. I see and I'm like, oh, I keep telling myself that I need to make sure I'm closing up the drains every single night. I see a roach, and I'm like, oh my, what do I do? So I text Jeremy. I said, please don't be asleep. There's a giant roach. So he comes and he kills the roach, right? And then last time he killed a roach, so I don't remember when it was, but yeah, it must have been a couple months ago. So he killed a roach in the bathroom. And he will kill it, but I have to throw it away. So last time he killed the roach, he didn't kill it all the way. So then it was like wiggling. So then like I got freaked out. So then it just stayed there. And then I felt bad because I'm like, is it struggling? Like, what's going on? So then last night when he went to kill the roach, he killed it. And Chloe was already asleep. He was in my arms. He was already asleep. So then I was like, well, he's not going to be on the floor. I'll sanitize it tomorrow, right? So he kills the roach. And I'm like, please make sure it's all the way dead this time because I don't want a repeat of last time because then it took me super long time because the roach did not die. Then I'm like, he's probably screaming. That's probably why I haven't seen a roach in months. He's probably screaming to all his other little roach friends, like, I'm dying. You know, something like that.
See? That's what I'm saying. So the idea of somebody not wanting to kill the person who's assaulted a child and wants to castrate them instead potentially create evangelists or mini messengers that tell everybody about
talk from like the internet, but that we don't have laws that allow that because a lot of the people in power do stuff like that. Have you ever heard that?
No.
People in like positions of power are the ones who commit like those kinds of like rape and like crimes against children. Like they're the ones who do stuff like that a lot. So they don't want to approve of any laws that make that legal.
Make any physical punishments legal or
for those specifically, or maybe just any in general.
Interesting conspiracy.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know how true it is.
Yeah.
But
okay, so we've incorporated caning. We've incorporated stoning in this, what's it called? Dystopia version of America that we're creating. Number 3, execution. Oh, I guess you could read this one. Go ahead.
Execution by firing squad in North Korea. North Korea is known to execute individuals by firing squad for various offenses, including political dissent and attempting to defect. Just like being against them politically.
Mm-hmm. They're talking against the future president of the United States, Donald Trump.
In North Korea,
Mm-hmm.
they can't talk about.
No, whatever their guy's name
Yeah,
is.
that's it. Kim Jong Un.
Oh, look at you with some political global information.
Yep. But yeah, so. That's crazy. I mean, to each their own. But I mean, it is hard because a lot of the times there's so much, like so many different like opinions and stuff like that. I think it makes it hard. In North Korea, is it like safe? How good are things over there?
Good question.
I wouldn't. For speaking out politically, I mean, if we did that here in the United States, we'd all be dead.
Yeah, y'all would.
You live here too.
Yeah, I suppose that there's a reason Christians were killed and beheaded, crucified, and all these things because of such things. Couldn't speak out against the powers that be, and they had to be your Lord as opposed to Jesus.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right. Next one?
Yeah.
All right. Public beheading. In Saudi Arabia still practices public beheading as a form of execution for crimes such as murder, rape, apostasy, and drug trafficking.
Have you heard that when somebody gets executed, like they're with a beheading, that they're still alive for a little while?
Like how long?
At least a few seconds.
Like they can move their legs?
N-
what do you mean they're still alive? Or they're like looking around like this with their head?
Like they'll scream and say things. Yeah, I don't know what I was reading. Obviously something dark. Because obviously I'm obsessed with Reddit. So there was like a Reddit comment where there was like, what are some of the craziest facts or something like that, right? And somebody in the comments was like, oh, I saw a beheading and like the people stay alive, like the head would be chopped off and they'd start saying stuff like, oh my gosh, I'm really about to die, my head, like my head is cut off. Like it took them a couple seconds.
Yeah.
Oh, thinking about that, it just freaks me out. I just had to share that with everybody else.
What would be your last words?
I don't want to think about it, Derek. I'm giving myself anxiety right now.
I think I'd probably be like Braveheart. Freedom! Or Gladiator. Are you not entertained? Yeah, I'm co-firing squad and public beheading not being a part of what happens here. I wonder if it de-incentivizes crime.
I'm sure it does. De-incentivized right now. Never want to do something bad again in my life.
It's interesting to see these places like Saudi Arabia in this number 4's example, that it's drug trafficking is so serious there. You'd get beheaded for drug trafficking, which is an interesting thing.
Yeah. They probably just don't want their people drugged up.
Yeah. I suppose it's surprising to hear such an intense standard for just that. But you can see how it messes up people's lives for sure.
Yeah. For sure.
All right. Next one.
Amputations in some countries. Is that me? Oh.
Mm-hmm.
In countries like Saudi Arabia and Iran, amputations of limbs is a punishment for crimes such as theft. The offender may have a hand or foot surgically removed as a form of retribution.
So the question is, What could somebody steal from you where you would be like, yeah, go ahead and take that person's hand off?
I think it's so horrible. Like anything, not anything. Okay, like a car,
The car? A hand in a car, kind of.
a hand. Oh, a hand is intense.
Foot?
A foot.
Take the foot off for a
Yeah.
car? Now, if it's a 30-year-old car, 93 Toyota Corolla,
Ooh, I don't really know.
is that,
about
hey,
it.
I'll take a toe for that one. You took my hoopty, so I'll take your thumb toe.
Yeah. But like obviously, my dad's my dad's truck just got stolen. So like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. How'd you feel?
It's like horrible. I feel like people work so hard for the things that they have, and then like some guy's just been driving it around, probably showing it off to his friends, acting like he just got a brand new truck, and it's like, okay, it's not brand new, but they
Yeah.
worked hard for it. It's a work truck. It's what they used to try. Like it was specifically they bought it to move their trailers, and it's like they worked so hard for it, and now it's gone, and it's like, oh, we're so like, I feel so sad, like.
Yeah.
Like he worked so hard, and then for somebody to just come and like take it, like, and then just be parading it around like it's his own.
Yeah.
Like, okay, that's not only did you do it, but now you're like spitting in the face, like being extra mean about it.
Does that make you want to put trackers on your bigger purchases? Like put trackers in your vehicles?
Yeah, but even then, I think those trackers only work like if they're near you. Like,
Really?
Like you can't put an AirTag in something and then track it across the United States. It has to be like near Wi-Fi.
I thought a phone would activate it, no?
Yeah, but you have to be like in the vicinity of it. So it's really.
But I guess they would kind of know if they have if they potentially have an iPhone,
Yeah.
it would tell them, oh, an air tracker is near you.
Yeah.
And they'll know it's somewhere in the car, unless you put it in a really difficult place for them to get to.
Yeah.
But another kind of, I feel like we're in 2024, and the number of trackers that are potentially available,
Yeah.
I don't know. You think I'm overly idealistic to believe that there's some out there that,
They do the ankle monitors.
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean.
They got to
and-
charge them. But I guess if
But you have to like even any trackers, you have to charge them.
even Apple, even the Apple tags.
Those only like that's what I'm saying. Those don't work if they're not near a phone. Like they don't work on their own because they're not connected to a network. I think eventually they die. I think they only last like 3 years or something.
Yeah, well, you're not tracking it for that. Oh, I guess you would be tracking it for that long.
So, or I don't really know what the time is, but
I
it
feel like in
ends.
2024, there have to be trackers that allow us to put it in a car, undetectable.
And watch it drive around.
Yeah.
That's not possible right now, unless you have those that you have to take off and charge. Like they're like this big. They magnet to like the inside of the bumper or something, and then every once in a while you gotta take it off, charge it, and put it back.
Yeah. Or isn't there one that you connect somehow to the battery? And I feel like, again, I maybe I just believe too much in our ability to innovate and create. But in my head, there's no way we don't have a good, solid tracker that could be connected somehow to the battery that sustains power that can be used. There's no way we don't have that. You think we don't?
I don't know. I mean, connected to the battery makes sense. But I don't know about connecting it to the satellite. That's the problem. Like internet. It has to have internet.
What about satellite phones?
Do you have to pay for those? Like service?
Forever?
Yeah.
Good question.
Anyways, theft.
At what point would you... Okay, how expensive does your vehicle have to be for you to be like, no, I'm definitely finding a tracker to put in there?
Me, I don't know. I'll probably do it. I would probably. I mean, at this point, I'm probably gonna do it for all my cars.
Yeah.
But I
Okay.
definitely think.
So you track that. You track the vehicle to a house. It's in the garage. You pull up. What do you do?
So do they know that it was mine? So I've been thinking about it, right? I've been thinking about it recently. Obviously, I'm the position that we're in. I'm like, oh my gosh, what if I just saw it? Like, how would I react? Like, cause we try to call the police, but they're not fast reactors. Like, would I just try to steal it back?
Yeah.
So would me as a girl go over there and be like, oh wow, I like your truck. Like, could you take me for a ride in it? And then I'd get in it and they take me for a ride. And then I'm like, oh, like, can I drive?
You're like hands up.
I'm like, oh, can I drive? Like, and then he's like, yeah, sure. And then I hop over and he gets out. And then I'm like, but obviously I'd have to get the key from him first. Then I get in the car and then I drive home and I leave him.
You would have to get the key or you would not?
I might not actually, because if the keys, like, let's say it's one of those
Push.
fobs. Yeah. So he takes it out. I mean, I can still drive the car.
What does FOB stand for again?
Do you know who you're talking to? I have no idea.
Does it stand for something?
I don't know. It's just a key fob.
Okay, cool.
But yeah,
You be knowing some things.
Yeah, that's true.
You knew the king of Korea or North Korea, whoever he is.
That's
what is he?
true.
Prime Minister, president,
The leader.
The leader.
I don't remember.
The supreme leader.
Mm-hmm. But yeah. So I've thought about that, like
Yeah.
stealing it back. And I was like, oh, maybe we'll drive out to somewhere and I'll just leave him there. Be like, oh, like, let me try driving. And then I'll get over. And when he gets out to go around, I'll lock the door and I'll drive away. And just leave him there.
Wait. But you said you got the key.
No, I don't. Let's say I don't have the key. Whether I have the key or not.
That's what I was saying earlier. I was like, why would you wait for the key?
I
'Cause
wouldn't.
The key could be replaced.
Yeah, and you could just deprogram it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would do that, definitely. So if y'all hear about me, if y'all hear about a guy in the middle of nowhere, just know it might have been me
If the truck is returned.
if the truck is returned.
Hmm.
Because at this point, they're kind of like, oh, that's the insurance problem.
Yeah.
So the truck is still not returned.
Yeah.
Sadness. Hope it comes back.
I think that's a $high truck too, huh?
Yeah, it was expensive.
Like $70K?
Yeah.
It's like more than a Hummer.
Yeah, it was expensive.
Hmm.
Yeah. And they added stuff to it.
Yeah.
Obviously, like, they did it themselves, They welded the stuff on themselves. But, it's still horrible. I just feel sad. Like, but to lose a whole limb,
That's right. So
intense.
okay, so you find out who stole the truck, and then what would the punishment be?
They lose their leg from the knee
The
down.
whole leg,
From
the
the
knee
knee
down.
Leg from the knee down.
Which leg?
Their dominant leg.
Yeah.
And they don't get a prosthetic for free. They have to pay for it out of pocket.
Yeah. Do you ever see those movies or shows where they kind of have this interesting backstory? I guess it's kind of like the This Is Us thing, but like there's a backstory where all of a sudden there's a little bit more compassion and empathy for even thieves.
Yeah.
Because then you find out, like, whatever, the person who stole it, his family was taken ransom. And, like, they're holding their kids and the wife. And it's like, he technically stole it, but he did it in the name of, his
Yeah.
kids. You know what I'm saying? Like, it just makes you think through, like, the layers and layers of crime and behaviors that you see and then what's behind some of it.
Yeah. But that goes into our whole, like, drug conversation. Because a lot of times people steal so that they could go buy more drugs.
Yeah.
They could sell whatever it is and buy drugs.
Yeah.
It's like,
So you can't get it insured or inspected. Would you get, like, some fake inspection and put it on your window so you don't get stopped in a parking lot?
I mean, also the license plate.
Yeah.
So the cops don't even look at the sticker anymore. They just run the license plate because the license plate number will tell them if somebody's inspection is up to date or not.
Hmm.
Sticker does not matter really. I always forgot to put mine back on.
One time I didn't have stickers, and I walked out of a dry cleaning establishment, and the cop noticed I didn't have stickers. And I thought it was a pretty courteous thing that he did, which was he said, "Hey, I noticed your stickers are expired, so naturally I gotta give you the ticket, but I won't do it. I won't do it right in front of this place you just left, so we could walk over here and I'll give you the ticket." I was like, naturally I don't want to get the ticket, but if I had to get the ticket, this is the way I'd like to get it. You know what I'm saying? He kind of tried to protect my reputation. I just went into this place, came out, and he's like, "Hey, we'll do it over here."
Yeah.
So I was like, respect.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Cops are human too.
Yeah. I've actually had really good experiences with cops. How about you?
For those who don't know, I was arrested once.
So what do you think is the appropriate punishment for what you did? No, I'm just kidding.
I think I deserve a medal.
So are you going to leave them in the cloud of ambiguity, or will you give them any details as to what happened?
All right, guys. I beat up a homeless person. Okay. It sounds bad. But no, it was just that I let a girl who didn't have a place to stay with me for a little bit, and when she heard me talking mess about her, we fought. And that's it. I got arrested. So technically she was homeless, and technically I did beat her up.
Technically, you won the battle. She was homeless, and you beat her up.
Yeah, and they said that one of us had to go to jail, and then she was already threatening to off herself. So
we have some comments over here. Would you like to read them, or would you want me to? You don't have to read the first two.
I love my brother Derek. My heart. Girls that are players should have their hand taken. LOL. We do believe that. Well, did we say girl like hands?
Yeah, we were talking about amputation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he said girls that are players, like women that cheat.
Women that cheat.
Yeah, but we agreed they could be stoned to death.
Yes. So
and have their hands taken. Oh, so they chop off their hands and then stone them. And it doesn't need to be done surgically because they're about to die anyways.
No, the idea is back to your cockroach story of them being the warning when you see a woman without their hand, especially if they're beautiful. Then, well, no, you said it. I guess I guess that doesn't really work for the stats that you were talking about. But if you see a woman without her hand, it's another warning to every person who sees her that don't be a cheater, or this happens. Matt also suggested they lose all their toenails with no painkillers.
Ooh, toenails.
And then,
what crime did I commit? I told you. I beat up a homeless person.
Do you want to add any details to that fight that you were in?
She was bigger than me. She was taller than me. She was a white lady.
Okay, I wasn't talking about race.
Yeah.
I thought you had an interesting detail in the whole mix, but I won't pry it out of you.
She did. Ching. She did get cut. All right. Wasn't my knife. I don't know where the knife came from, but she did get sliced.
There we go, Matt.
Yes.
That's the information.
Yeah. So, but then they took me to jail. They took her to 5150.
Which is what?
Suicide watch.
Yeah.
So, I went to jail. Charges were dropped.
Is 5150 like a universal phrase that people use, or it's like a Texas or?
I think it's universal because I've seen them do it on like TikTok.
Yeah.
Let's see. That last one.
You read it?
Maybe a woman who cheats tongue should be cut out so they can't talk their way into another man's pants. LOL.
Your thoughts on that?
She would just learn to sign.
Mm.
She would still be an evildoer. Death to her.
Very good.
I think about cheating, man. It's like that sucks, man. Because I listen to those Reddits all the time. I hear it all the time. I'm like, man, people just mess up lives. Commenter was just kidding about everything, by the way.
Yes, we did put his name up, so it's blessed talk and all this crazy punishment.
Yeah, we made some jokes too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we in there. We in there.
Yes.
All right. Any last one on the punishment side from ChatGPT, the craziest punishments around the world? Any?
Labor camps, shaming. So like
Scarlet letter.
they're not allowed to wear clothes.
No, it says right there.
Oh, I didn't read it.
Community shaming in some countries. In certain communities, individuals convicted of crimes may be subjected to public humiliation as a form of punishment. This could include wearing signs of detailing their offense or being paraded through the streets.
I think forced labor sounds good also. Like the people in prison should be a lot more contributive. They should all be studying how to get rid of microplastics every day. And the winner earns his freedom or her freedom.
About how to get rid of microplastics from the body?
Yeah, from the body, from the ocean, everywhere. How to turn him back into dirt. I don't know what plastic is made out of, actually. But Jeremy was telling me, like, nuclear waste can't really be undone either.
Yeah.
But, I don't think that far ahead, really. Floating prisons? What's a floating prison? Located on ships and are designed to be highly secure. All those things. Who?
In the Netherlands. Yep.
Floating prisons in the Netherlands. Is it cold over there?
Good question. I'm not sure.
Yeah. For drug trafficking. Drug trafficking, is that like the big people? Like the big guns? Like El Chapo?
Or even if you have like a dime bag, you're done for.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Look, Matthew said, plastic is made out of cellulose, coal, natural gas, salt, and crude oil. There has to be a way to get rid of that, right? Or turn it into dirt? I don't know.
How long do you think it take to figure it out?
Hopefully not long.
But you understand that there's a number of prisons even in America that are the labor they do is
Contributing to
what?
To America?
It's contributing to some form of organization, like in making profit, like Kevlar vests. Some prisons make Kevlar vests, or some prisons are repairing vehicles that are used in the free world, like because they have mechanic shops, and there's different services that are done. They might, like in Georgia, be paid a nickel an hour or something like that.
Oh.
But they could use it in prison for the commissary and the lunch and all that. But there's an elements of work being done in prisons and people even being paid But of course, the organizations, the broader corporation that's connected to those prisons are the ones that are making the most amount of money because they can sell those Kevlar vests to other organizations and make massive margins based on how little it costed to make them and how much they could sell them for.
Oh, wow. Guess I didn't know that.
So supposedly big prisons is a big business for some corporations
So we should invest.
in a prison.
Yeah.
Good question.
I
Your
just read
face.
that. I just read that.
Matt said, don't they have quotas to keep the prisons full above 85% or they lose funding? Good question. I've heard that. I don't know if that's conspiracy or real.
Whoa, I did not know that. First time I'm hearing about it.
But I thought some prisons were closing because they were not as populated before and they were consolidating.
Probably because they lost funding. Does that mean we're being less bad?
Well, then even isn't it in California like the punishments for theft has been reduced radically depending on the value. If it's below a certain threshold, then they pretty much let you out.
Is that not how it's always been?
I don't think it's always been like that.
Wow. Jeremy and I were talking about that. I was like, what would happen? You know, he said something, and I was like, that's Grand Theft Auto. Like, you know, that's not just the game. Like, Grand Theft, like that's an actual crime. Like, because it has to be over a certain dollar amount. Because I think if you steal like something small from the store, like, and you get caught, they can't prosecute you or something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah. I don't know. I didn't know if the threshold was raised or something like that. But that just sucks. Just stealing sucks.
Amen, sister. Amen. Well, good. Anything else on this you want to wrap up with for this one? I think we've solved many world issues. We've instituted punishments appropriate to the crime. I think we've made America a better place. I think we've borrowed concepts from around the world, and we're ready for a safer community for us all.
Okay. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if we've conquered world hunger just yet or whatever. World violence just yet. But do you think anybody at any point in time is going to retaliate in Singapore if it's the safest place?
Retaliate.
Like, you think that eventually they're going to build like a community where they don't, you know, like a what do they call it? A rebellion?
Against the violent consequences for crime?
Yeah. Probably not. Yes. Because then I feel like that would be... I guess I would want to talk to somebody from Singapore to see if they do have some people with those kinds of opinions.
How hard do you think it would be for us to get a Singaporean on live with us for a pod?
Ooh, I don't know. We could look into it.
Okay.
But yeah, I would definitely want to ask because, I mean, I can have all the judgments from the outside, but I really don't know what it's like over there. You know, if you think, oh, it's working, you know, but they might have their own problems, you know.
Yeah.
So I'd love to ask.
Already.
Mm-hmm.
All right, everybody. We'll see you next Tuesday. Same time, same place. Let us know in the comments if any punishments you would incorporate into America for the crime and how you would go about it and the kind of society you would build if you were in charge.